Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray with Let's Make Art, and I teach watercolor and sometimes gouache, and today we're doing a gouache tutorial called Noel.
Noel, Noel.
That was beautiful, Keenan.
Thank you.
This is part of our holiday gouache box, which I'm super excited about, and I hope you guys paint with me in this box because it's great projects. I am in love with every single one. We're going to be doing this project in 4 steps. So our very first step is we're going to paint the black background. Our second step, we will be painting in leaves. Our third step, we will be painting more leaves. And our last step, we'll be putting in pine boughs. Boughs? Bows? Boughs? Boughs. And
Bowls.
bows?
Bowls.
That can't be right.
Just say it. Just say it slow, and then don't finish the last part of the word.
Pine bough, and then berries. We are going to be using 5 colors in this project. So, and I'm just going to lay them out on the table. I hope that's okay instead of swatching.
Yeah.
Watercolor, it's easy to swatch. Okay. Gouache. We're doing Holbein. We have carmine. We have ivory black. We have turquoise blue. We have permanent yellow deep. And we have permanent white. So this is our Holbein Designer Gouache series. Great quality gouache. Really nice. Let's do our outline and then our oath and then get started. So we have an outline with this project. It's just the text of the word. If you feel comfortable with your lettering, you can just write it. You don't even have to have an outline. I don't feel as comfortable, so I use a computer.
You could get crazy with the lettering outline.
Yeah.
You could do like a thumbnail sketch, start small.
Yeah.
Do different types of fonts if you want to try different
Especially if you have I'm sure Nicole could come up with something just unreal. So, and if you're interested in learning lettering, we have a ton of lettering tutorials on our YouTube channel that you guys can tune in and watch whenever you're ready. Okay, so I taped the edge off on my paper first, just using painter's tape, and then I taped my outline. And now I'm going to take my graphite paper and do dark, shiny side down. And then I will trace.
I thought of how you could do the gouache swatches.
Okay.
Before.
Keenan, you genius.
You could even have the same sheet of paper.
You are 100% right, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I also just want to point out that when you're tracing letters, you're like, oh, the letters are there. That's great. They're going to turn out really great because I'm just tracing them. It's a trap to think that, my friends. Don't think it. Because I can never get my letters perfectly straight even when I'm tracing them. I don't know why. It's just difficult for me. So don't be upset with yourself if you lift up your paper and you're like, oh, those look a little wonky. Because it's okay. If you actually look closely on my example here, you'll see that they aren't perfectly even. There's areas where it goes in or the line's kind of crooked. So I'm just telling you right now to give yourself a little bit of space because, we're not like robots.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do things
Is that an O or a D?
Perfectly. And the great thing with this project too is you can do the same idea with any word. So maybe you want to do joy or your last name, and that could be a Christmas card.
That's a great idea.
See my look, because that was hey, that was a good idea look. Okay. Oh, I didn't go over the brushes. So we're using a round 6 and a round 2. And then for this holiday gouache box, I also added a wash brush. This is a 3/4 inch wash brush.
What?
So you can do the background with a round 6. It will just take you so long. And so Use your wash. Okay, let's do our oath. If you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise not to compare my work.
I promise not to compare my work.
And I promise to have fun.
And I promise to have fun.
That felt like a soft one.
I couldn't make the bell be soft.
Wait. Yeah, there we go. Also, the fun thing about, look how wonky that is. It's okay, you guys. It's going to be okay. But the fun thing about this kind of project, too, is it does not matter at all how dark these outlines are. It doesn't matter. So if you're struggling with graphite paper, do this project because we'll just paint over it or around it. Can't even see it. Okay, I'm going to grab my wash brush, 3/4 inch wash. I'm going to pick up my black gouache and I'm just going to paint the whole thing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
There's a wash brush and then there's a stroke brush.
A stroke brush is a wash brush is pretty square. A stroke is more of a rectangle standing up.
Oh, so it's like a round versus a liner.
Yes, it's like a wash stretched.
Ah, interesting.
But great question. And I will admit that I'm not as well versed in all of the brushes. But I would assume that like a stroke brush is really great for things like lettering and stuff like that.
Oh, it's nice and smooth.
Yeah, because you can get a
reaction.
long, smooth line and things like that. So like signage, that kind of stuff. Okay, and then I'm just going to, when I get close to my letters here, try and just do it across to get like a smooth edge. There we go.
Man, now I've got that song stuck in my head.
Noel,
Yeah.
you can sing it.
Nope. I'll sing it later when the cameras are off. And the acoustics in the store are great.
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
have good acoustics.
We do.
One time when our store was open, we have a worker here, Caitlin, who worked our store. And she likes to sing, and she has a beautiful voice. And she was closing up, and one time I like just came in from the offices and came into the store, and she's just behind the counter, just like belting it. And it was so beautiful. And she saw me, she's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. It's just the acoustics are so good in here." I was like, "Don't be sorry. You have a gorgeous voice." I wish I do that. I just wish that I sounded
Like
as
that.
nice as she did. And Keenan, you have a good voice too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that was... Wow, thanks, Sarah.
I know that didn't sound
Thanks for
very...
that. No, thanks for that.
I didn't know that. I know that didn't sound very...
Polite.
I'm like, oh, by the way...
Oh, that's funny.
I just know, I didn't want to like put you on the spot.
No, thank you.
But you do have a really gorgeous voice, and you're great at playing piano. And
Stop it.
Keenan has a keyboard in the offices upstairs. And I just want to say, now I'm getting to my letters, and I'm trying to just fill in as much space with my wash brush as I can. So sometimes it fits perfectly in between.
Dang, nice.
And then when you can't, for the detail stuff, you're going to grab your round. So just do as much as you can with the wash and then move on. But anyway, so Keenan has a keyboard upstairs in the office, and so he'll jam on that every once in a while. And sometimes I record you when you don't know it.
What?
Yeah, I'll be like in the hallway, I'll just press record, and it's just you playing. I don't do anything with that, but I have him.
Dang it.
Because I thought, I'm sure people would love to hear Keenan playing the keyboard.
No.
I should give this to... We should put it on our stories or something.
No one's going to know anything I play.
What? Oh, yeah, because you just kind of make it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the other... Because the other reason is, like, Keenan will just, like, start jamming, which I think is amazing. I used to take piano lessons, and I could kind of read music, but, like, I'm not like a player. But Keenan just goes.
I think it's pronounced playa.
Okay, my O is wonky. I'll go in and fix that. Because we can. Because it's gouache. If this is your first experience with gouache, you can go ahead and watch our gouache beginner series on YouTube. And that will give you a little bit more information on what gouache is, how you can best use it, all of that. Okay, I'm going to switch to my 6 now because I'm kind of getting into the nitty-gritty details. I just want a little bit more control.
The wash did quick work.
Right? Look how quick. You guys, get yourself a wash.
Wait. They have a wash.
If they don't
If they
have
don't
one.
have a wash. If they didn't get the box, this box specifically. Right?
Yeah. Well, the brushes don't come in the box.
Didn't you say the wash is in the box?
No.
What?
Did I say that?
Maybe
'Cause
that's
if I
how
did-
misinterpreted.
If I did, I'm really sorry because I lied to you.
Because you said I included this wash.
Oh.
So I immediately thought.
Keenan, that's a good call out. Okay, by included, I just meant used it. It's not actually in the box. I'm really sorry.
I got really excited I was going to get a box.
Well, nope. You gotta buy that separately, Keenan. And by the way, we're still not paying you, so awkward.
I'll call Michael.
No, that was a good call out, Keenan. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so delicate, the detail work.
Oh, detail work. Sometimes.
Okay, and then also I want to say that just because you traced something wonky, that doesn't mean you have to stick with it, right? So if I'm feeling like I need to thin out an area or straighten a line, you can. You don't have to go off your outline exactly. Okay. Oh, that is very crooked.
I thought you said purple. Oop, that is very purple.
How did my black turn purple? Halloween is trying to sneak in here. It's like,
Halloween,
listen,
so-
you had your chance.
You had your.
Is that straighter now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just going to leave it and then go. And the other thing, too, is if you notice that you're trying to take your black and it just is making your letters thinner and thinner, or it's perfectly straight except for you slipped and there's one part that's stuck out, you can use your white to go over the letters. You have white gouache here. You can utilize that. Yeah, right there. That's what I just did. See that little indent on that E?
Mm.
Okay. But I can go back with my gouache, or you can even have some of these leaves go over the letters too. In my example, I have them just kind of they're underneath. But if you just want to cover up a spot or a couple of spots, or have it feel like the text is hidden behind some of the leaves or something, you can just paint the leaves on top of some of these areas.
That's a good idea. Overlap them.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to read a pickup line that is related to what we are painting?
Yes.
It's kind. Okay, this pickup line was talking to a person named Noel.
Okay.
And they said, I think I might be an of. Oh, dang it. I didn't realize I accidentally spelled it with no L. Because their name is Noel. This, I think I might be in of instead of love.
Oh, I might be in
Of.
of.
Yes. Oh, dang it. I didn't realize I didn't spell
I
it with
think
no
you needed
L.
to see that in order to understand it.
I can see it, so I think it's hilarious. Oh, man, that's funny. I'm glad I told that. I regret nothing.
I agree. It was really wonderful. It was a great experience. We all got to experience that together.
Got to see a little bit of the inner workings of Keenan's mind.
You get to see what it's like to work with Keenan.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, I'm like quiet because I'm so focused. This stresses me out than like painting a big animal. It's like the tiniest little information to give.
Itty bitty painting space.
That was good. We're almost done, you guys. We'll get there. And also, I just want to say, like, no rush. You know what I mean? Like, if you really want this to be, like, really smooth and take your time with it, go for it. And then now try and, like, smooth out some.
Yeah, and you're already here, so you might as well,
Yeah.
take your time.
Take your time. This one is a little bit more about time. I'm just kind of going in and trying to straighten some edges.
Can you straighten edges on the right side?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And I also would like to say that when you add all of the leaves and stuff, some of the shapes of the letters are not going to seem as distracting right now because it's like the only thing on our page. It's the only thing our eyes have space to go to. So like, I'm feeling good. I'm just going to move on. Don't feel like you have to fiddle with it to be perfect because some of these things are not going to be as obvious when you start adding leaves. Okay, and then I have another clean thing of water here because I knew that my water would get really dark with the black paint. So now we're ready to move on to step 2. We're going to do the leaves. So, and I just want to remind you that the rule with gouache is that if you start with the very opaque bottom, which means if you have a lot of paint, then you need to make sure you match that level of paint as you're adding layers. If I try to do a really watery leaf right here, it would actually just reactivate the black and it wouldn't paint that color on. So this project does have a lot of paint use because our bottom layer is so opaque. So just a reminder to you, if you're getting frustrated because it's just lifting up black, you need more paint, less water.
Got it.
So I'm going to mix a green. I'm going to take my yellow and my blue. And I always like to show mixing because I want to give you guys the opportunity to use colors that you like. And so if you want it to be like a neutral green, you're going to do even parts. If you want it to be more of a blue-green, you're going to have more blue in here than yellow. So you see the difference between these two colors? Can they see that?
Yep.
Like that. And then if you want like a more yellow green, you'll have more yellow mixed in there. So already I have 3 greens. And then a couple other tips that you can do. If you want to neutralize the saturation of your green, like if you're like, that green is just so vibrant and I just don't like how bright it is, You can take a little bit of red. Oh, that was too much red. Hold on. If this happens to you, you see how I have so much red going on?
Yeah.
What I do now is I'm like, okay, sorry, pile. I'm going to make another pile. I take that, just a little speck of red from that, and then I'll add green to this.
I like that.
So now it's green, but it's more of an olivey green, kind of with hints of brown in it instead of this brightness. So I just, like, don't be afraid to like, just like play and just be like, okay, what happens if I add some black to it? Ooh, that's like a good color. You know what I mean? So kind of play with it. Use different kinds of greens. If you look here, I have more blue leaves, I have bright green leaves, I have neutral green, and I have like some desaturated green. So just mix it up. And I'm going to start with this green here. I really liked this. And I'm going to start by doing my larger leaves. And I'm going to start with this stem coming out from my L. So I like to draw my leaf first and then have that connect my stem and then do leaves from there.
Those are good looking leaves.
So you can do leaves either two ways or like I mix it up. So you can draw them and then paint them in. So outline them and then fill. Or, sorry, I gotta mix more green. Or you can try and do them in one brush stroke. Now that takes a little bit more practice. So if you're brand new to using brown brushes, there's nothing wrong with outlining. So I'm gonna start with light pressure for the tip, push down for the middle, and then lighten it up for when it hits the stem. So you guys get to decide. Okay, and then I'm just going to keep, I'm going to do one coming out of my O here. And if you're having a hard time getting a thin line, you can utilize your round 2 to get thin lines for your stems. I'm a sucker for thin stems though. I really, even if it's not true to the actual plant, I tend to make sure my stems are really thin. It's just a stylistic preference I have. If you like the look of thin stems and you're getting frustrated with your round 6, maybe look at your round 2. Okay.
There's probably a time and place for a thin or a thick stem too, though, right?
Absolutely. And like there are some, it's a personal preference, right? So if you like thicker stems, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So if you're like, yeah, I mean, why would I like a tiny little stem? It looks like it's going to break off. I want my, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's more just what you like the look of. And if you like a thicker stem, respect.
R-E-S-P-C-T. Please don't judge. Come paint with me.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
I just want to point out that I am, you will notice that all of these stems that I'm adding, I'm not having them go straight up and down. See how they're kind of angled? And that's because I don't want to create any implied lines compositionally. If, I'm trying to think of which painting it was. I think it was the loose florals with the metallic paints on black watercolor paper. I heavily went into composition, and especially when it came to florals and leaves and like loose things like that. So if you feel like you need a little extra help, please take a look at that tutorial because I really go into detail about how to do that.
I think that was the same one that I asked the question. I asked you to make it aggressively lined up.
Yeah, you said, you're like, okay, well, what if you actually do put
Yeah.
straight lines? And I'm like, okay, let me show you what that looks like, what that does to the eye, and then how to fix it. So, and again, you might have to just keep on mixing green because just the amount of paint that we need to use to make sure it shows up. And this one's kind of coming out of the end here. Ooh, that one got brighter. Now the beauty of, for me, the beauty of mixing a bunch of different greens is that I'm not stressed if this one feels different than the other ones, because I'm going to be doing a lot of different like kinds of greens or shades of green, and so it won't feel out of place because I'm going to have a lot other stuff. That's kind of the beauty of being able to, like, why I like to mix it up. Well, one, I think it's visually interesting,
Yes.
and two, it's like less pressure for me to make sure that the mixture is perfect every time, because then it's like when this is done, this looks out of place right now, it won't look out of place when we're done.
It looks great on camera.
Oh, cool. And also leaf shapes, I try and make my leaves narrow at the top, wide in the middle, and then narrow at the base again. Keen and I joke a lot about these shapes because I think one time I was trying to describe a leaf shape by calling it like
An eye.
the shape of an eye, which is not wrong.
No, it's not wrong. You're not wrong.
But he was just like, or a leaf. So we joke about that.
I didn't mean to sound so rude.
You were
know.
very rude.
Okay, well,
I think a lot of people would agree.
well, would they?
Yeah, that's why people email us and say, don't you pay him.
Don't you dare.
Disrespectful. The whole time. Asking me questions as if I should know the answer. Just kidding. Okay. Let's do one more. I'm going to have an O. And you can see that I'm putting leaves behind the letters. See how that's underneath? If you want to do it over top, you absolutely can. Just make sure that you're not covering up so much of the letters that you can't really see what the word is saying anymore.
Oh.
That's the only danger. But if you do that, you have white paint and you can just bring it back. Right?
Oh, that's true. Oh, thank you, gouache.
I know. Boop. And it's funny, these one brush stroke leaves, like sometimes I do it and I'm like, okay, that one's okay. And then sometimes I do it and I'm like, oh, that was such a good one.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the opposite. Ooh,
No.
what just happened?
Like I just nailed that, you know? Like,
Yes.
Doesn't happen all the time. Like that one I felt really good about. That one's
Yeah.
okay. You know, so
Yeah.
when you nail it, it's okay to like celebrate yourself a
It's
little bit.
okay to say, nailed it.
It's okay to be like, I got that leaf so good. Boop. Also, you can adjust it after, like just because you're doing one brush stroke leaves, if you want to like point it or add to it, you can. There's no rule saying that you can only touch it once, you know? Okay, let's do another one coming out here. Okay, so this is a good start, and we're just gonna keep on going. I'm gonna add, so these were kind of like my largest leaves. I'm gonna keep adding these leaf stems, and I'm gonna switch up my green. So maybe I'm gonna do more of a bright green. I need more yellow. And if you really want it to pop too, you can add a little bit of white in there. But just remember that your white is going to, white and black mixing it will desaturate your colors a little bit, just so you know. Which isn't bad, just a heads up. You won't keep that same color intensity because you're lightening it. Okay, that's a pretty good green, and I feel like it's different enough. And I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna make these ones a little bit smaller. Because they're smaller, if you're having trouble using your 6 for this and you want to switch to your 2, do it.
Well, those match up to that other one a little better.
Yeah, see, now that doesn't poke out as much. And where do we have more? We have like...
I like that desaturated green though.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I love me like a good brown, black, green. It's just like rich.
Makes me think of Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because of the color, I assume his...
Like tunic is?
His tunic, or his cloak.
Do you mean the cartoon Robin Hood or the Kevin Costner Robin Hood?
Any Robin Hood.
Okay.
Because I love Robin Hood.
And so I'm doing like little pairs of leaves right here. You can see that it's like, it's almost as if it's off a flower or something. Now, I will say that these two are repeated right next to each other, but because I'm going to be doing a blue leaf here, that won't be as obvious. I just wanted to call attention to it. And then maybe off this way. And maybe up here. And don't be afraid to change the shape of your leaves as well. You can have some that are more squatty, you can have some long and skinny. Just so you know, really long, skinny ones are gonna read tropical. Just a heads up.
Oh, interesting, like a palm tree?
Kind of.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that I just kind of want to point out as well is as you're doing this, you want to pay attention to the areas where some leaves are sticking out way more than the others. Like I'm noticing that my eye keeps on getting drawn back here because I feel like this leaf is sticking out a lot, which isn't bad. But I feel like I need to fill up the space around this L, which I will. But I just want you to like look at that. If as you're painting and adding these leaves, if one spot is just like so far out that it keeps drawing your eye, think of what you can add to the other parts of your painting to bring that eye, that viewer back into your painting instead of just have it go off the page.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to switch to my 2, and I'm going to do more of a blue. So I have my turquoise blue here. I'm going to add a little bit of white to it to lighten it up. And these are going to be much smaller leaves. So it's pretty much what we were doing before, except just tinier. Have this come. And you can try doing the single brush stroke with leaf with the smaller brush. I don't feel as successful when I'm doing it with the smaller brush, mostly because the thickness that you're able to get in a leaf is determined by the thickness of the belly of the brush. And so like if you have larger brushes, it's a little bit easier to get a nice one brush stroke leaf where you're kind of limited in how thick your brush stroke can be with a smaller brush. So just a little tip.
So with a 16 round,
oh yeah,
you just get the biggest leaf.
Yeah.
And I guess there are bigger ones.
Oh yeah.
Like a 30.
Didn't we sell a 30 one time?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
In the past several months.
Yeah, it was so great.
We probably sell more than just one.
Well, I remember because she came in the store and we talked about it.
Yes.
She was like, I feel like I want this big brush. And I was like,
Okay.
you're going to want that big brush.
Yeah, you're going to want it.
It's a lot of fun. And then I'm going to have, and I have another blue one coming out this way. So I just want, like when I do different leaves, like now I'm doing the blue stems, notice that I'm adjusting. They're not all going the same direction. Okay, I have this one angled down, this one's angled up. They're both going to the left. This one I'm adding here, I'm going to bring it back to the right. And that's because if I had them all going to the left, that creates an implied line in composition. So that's why I have the leaves kind of like crisscross back and forth, is because I want my viewer's eye to stay in my painting.
In the word Noel.
In the word Noel.
What's your favorite holiday movie?
My favorite holiday movie?
Yeah. Because I feel like there are a lot of holidays.
There are. Do you have a favorite holiday movie?
I think the most quoted one I have, if that's maybe actually, so all-time favorite is a Christmas movie called It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, that's a great movie. I've actually never seen it.
Oh, wow.
I know what it is.
It's a classic.
Okay. Oh, White Christmas.
White Christmas is a fantastic Christmas movie.
I love White Christmas.
But I quote Elf all the time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Elf is a good one.
Have you seen these toilets? They're ginormous. But have you ever watched the St. Patrick's Day movie? There are a lot of movies out there.
No.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Nope. Wow, I feel like I'm missing out on so much.
Yep.
When I was younger, my sister and I, we loved watching White Christmas, and the part where they do sisters.
Yeah.
We would do that part. We
so
would like
nice.
sing it together. It was so fun. Also the part in The Prince of Egypt where, you know, the two priests are like, you're playing with the big boys now. And they like do that song and dance. And one's tall and one's short. I was the short one. My sister was the tall one. And we were like singing the song and doing the moves. Childhood. Okay.
I had never seen The Prince of Egypt until this past like 2 years.
Did you love it?
Yes.
Because the music in that movie is so beautiful.
That was what was interesting. I always listened to the music. I never saw the movie.
Oh, I had the soundtrack and
Yeah.
I just loved it.
Yep.
Okay. So, we're doing great, you guys. We're doing good. Now I'm going to add, we're on the last step. So now it's kind of more the smaller parts. We're going to be doing our pine boughs, our berries, and our hollies. And here we go. I'm going to start with red to put in my berries. So I'm going to do some here. Now, if you have too much water, that black is going to show through really easy. So something that you can do is you can also mix it with a little bit of white in there to make sure it kind of pops off the page really good. Now, of course, just remember you will be sacrificing a little bit of that red saturation by doing that, but it will show up a little bit brighter. Can you see the difference? I don't know if that shows up on screen, but...
Kinda.
And then I'm just going to kind of go through and add. Or you can do white first and then go back when it's dried and do just red over it. That will show up really well. Okay. And you can see that, like, you can try and go off my reference photo exactly, but sometimes what I'll do too is, like, because it's really hard to replicate paintings exactly, I'll put some in, and then your painting will inform you as you go. So, like, maybe there's an area where you're like, it just kind of feels empty there, I need something, but she doesn't have a leaf on hers. Like, well, forget mine, do what's best for your painting, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid to, like, adjust. And even when I'm recreating a project that I'm teaching, I'll leave room for myself to, like, let my painting inform me as I go. And then I would rather do that and explain to you my thought process, because I feel like that's more educational than just trying to be a perfect replica, you know? Yes. So for the little holly leaves, it's kind of like spiky, like this. If this is my stem, it's like ocean waves.
Oh.
Around the thing.
Got it.
Got it?
Got it.
So I'm going to do my stem and then ocean waves to a point. Ocean waves to a point, fill it in. And this is more of a yellow, bright green that I'm using here, because I want these to kind of pop out. And don't feel like these need to be perfect. They don't. People will see the red berries, they'll see the spiky leaves, and they'll get it. You know, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I know what that is. Okay.
Yeah, mistletoe.
You just confused me for a second. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this mistletoe? And I've been calling it something else the whole time.
I don't really know what mistletoe looks like.
Mistletoe has, like, round, it's like a little branch with a, like, kind of rounded, long, skinnier leaves and white berries.
Oh, okay. They're white berries?
Mm-hmm. Google it to make sure, but I'm fairly sure. I could be making that up, but I think so. Okay, and then I'm going to do some pine needles. See what I did there? No. Avoided that word. Oh. So for those, I'm just going to start with a stem. And I'm using my round 2, and I'm just going to do splays off of it. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop, boop. I'm going to add a little bit more water so it comes off a little bit more smooth.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mistletoe?
Yeah. Oh, the leaves almost look like peas.
Peas?
Like snap peas?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Sorry, I had to move my butcher tray out of the way so I can reach this edge. I'll put it back. And I love putting these in because, like, really quickly, like with a really simple like brush stroke, you get a strong feeling of Christmas. And that's why I kind of like putting in these needles, because they're simple but effective. Sorry, I'm getting in the way of the camera.
Yep, it's okay. It's just hurting our experience.
It's just hard. I like to start from the stem and go out because I feel like it's easier for me to get a thinner line on the edge that way. And so I have to, like, work my way around the painting to angle it that way.
What if we put your paintings on a lazy Susan?
Okay, that would be really cool. So at this point, I'm looking at my reference photo, but also I'm going to start looking to see where are there gaps? Where do I need to fill some more space in for the composition of what's actually happening on my paper? So don't feel like you have to follow me exactly. I feel like I've mentioned this a few times, and so sorry if it's repetitive, but I just am passionate about it. And then the cool thing too about these like pine needles is if you have a drier brush, you're gonna get some rough textures, which I feel like is kind of true to the pine needles anyway. So that's kind of fun.
That is fun.
Okay, so like for example, I have some coming off of my E right here, but I have this there instead. So I'm gonna have it actually come off of my O because this is a blank spot and that is filled. So just, you know, minor adjustments like that. And I'm just painting on top of my blue leaf that's there. We have some on my coming off of the E. Let's maybe go this way. And you don't have to do them in pairs. Like I've been doing kind of 2 branches. If you just want to do like 1 because that fits the space better, just do 1. If you feel like that makes it look a little bit too lonely, add another one. Okay. Now I'm just going to start adding leaves in some areas that I think could use a little extra attention. And again, there's no rules. You can switch it up between stems of leaves. You can switch it up between holly. You can switch it up between berries. Like, everything's free game.
You could put a tiny miniature Christmas tree inside the O.
Oh, that would be cute.
Put a plate of cookies on the left side.
You can do a whole winter scene. We're just like painting something else now.
I mean, I just meant literally a plate of cookies on your left side.
Okay.
It's a different project.
It's just a different project. I just paint the whole thing in white and I start over again.
Just speckle black on it. You're done.
You're done. Good job. I'm going to add a little holly leaf here. Maybe one. Okay. And I love, love, love little white dots. And I'm going to do little white dots on here as like little berries. And the reason why I love these is because they're really effective at filling in space without having to do a whole lot of work. So like if I feel like this area feels a little bit bare, but I don't want to do a big leaf, I can be like dot, 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 okay? And then now that brings my composition edge out here instead of here, without having to fill in that whole space. It's just like magic. I'm going to do some here. I'm going to do some up, down, up, down.
What about inside the L? Do you want that space open? It's that way in the reference photo, but I was just curious.
I don't know. I think my only concern of putting it in like so close to this is I don't have that really anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like if I did that, I would have to do it on the other ones.
That makes sense.
So I'm not going to do that for this one. I'm going to put some here. Okay, here can use a little bit of attention. And let's add stems to that and see how that feels. So still using my 2, grab some green, any green, and just add thin stems that connect them. So I can have, just making sure I'm grabbing a good amount of paint. That it's not too watery. So I can have it connect to one, and then I have like little stems going off to all the other ones.
That's cool.
This one I got excited about the dots on that one. That's okay. Okay. So now I feel like it's starting to feel more together. And then if you feel like there's any areas where it could do with like a little extra space, now is where you're just like, I don't know, this feels kind of bare or something like that. So I think it feels pretty good. I still feel like maybe up here is bare. Do you feel that or no?
Yeah, I feel more so directly below the O.
Oh, right here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you can do a couple things. You can add a leaf. I do have a lot of greenery there already, so actually what I think I'll do is I'll add red.
Ah.
I don't have any red close to there, so I'll just do a couple little berries. And then off of my berries I can do leaves. And I'm going to try and do it over the black part and not the green part since there's already green there. Does that feel better?
Much better.
Okay. And I think what I might do to fill this is do a blue stem right here. What do you think about that?
Yes, blue stem. Big fan.
So when I'm deciding what to use to fill the space, I try and look at what's already there and then do something different. So then it doesn't feel like it's just the same leaf layered on top of each other. So I'm going to have it curve this way to the left because this leaf is leaning so strong to the right. Also, this is sticking out so strong to the right. I kind of feel like I need to bring it back in.
There's a restaurant called Blue Stem.
There is, and it is fabulous. I went there, I think it was Valentine's Day or our anniversary, and there was a passion fruit dessert there that literally changed my life. It was the best thing I ever tasted. I didn't know I could love passion fruit that
Oddly
way.
enough, that's when you started painting. Passion fruit.
Okay, so that feels better. I think I'm gonna add some white into here.
But that bottom left between the N and the O.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. Boop, 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 boop. And this is where it's really helpful for you guys to take a step back from your painting, because if you're staying this close to it the whole time, you're gonna keep on adding until the entire thing is leaves. So that's why I keep asking Keenan. He has a different eye than I do. He has a different perspective. So he can see those holes a little bit better than I can. Is this where you were talking about, like here?
Yep.
Or in here?
Nope, that area.
Okay.
For white.
And the fun thing too about painting and whimsy stuff like this is like maybe you don't want to add stems to this, or maybe your stems are coming out of the leaf stem that's already there. You get to make those rules, right? You're the artist. That one I'm not going to add stems to. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. And then now is if you want to do any like veins on your leaves, like if I take this, you just want to make sure it's a different color so it actually shows up. So I'm going to mix some white into some of these greens. I'm just going to like try and get a totally different color. And just doing some like thin details can just really add a nice finishing touch to it. You can do veins, you can do like maybe at where the leaf meets the stem, you just like darken that whole bottom part. You can do white stems, you can do darker stems, just a little detail. Even on these. You can do it on your holly. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. And I'm going to remove my tape. So, peel away.
Ooh, a big border.
Yeah, I did a big border.
Nice.
And the reason why I did a bigger border, well, because this is 9 by 12 paper, and 9 by 12 frames are actually like really hard to come by. So usually I'll always paint a little bit smaller than my paper. So then it's one, I can like crop it in, and then that way if I want to frame it, I can. But paper, like watercolor paper, it's common for the pad size to be 9 by 12, and it's because they want to give you that option. They want to give you the option of creating a border. And actually in art school, they really regularly teach you to create a border before you start painting, because one, a clean edge is just a really nice finishing touch, and also it teaches you how to look at the composition within a framed area.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. So if I wanted to, I can probably cut this down to 8 by 10, fit that into a frame. And you can always like trace, like if you like know you want to put this in an 8 by 10 frame, you can just mark that on your paper, tape it off, and paint within that. That way you'll know if it will fit. That's our project.
Boom.
Boom. Oh, one last thing. The beauty of gouache. I'm taking white and I'm going right here on this tiny little spot that bam.
Fixed.
So you can even like straighten up some of your white edges that way.
Oh, wow.
If you want to. You don't have to. Yeah, doesn't that look better?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So that's just an option for you guys. Don't forget that gouache has the ability to do it. It's wonderful. Okay, well, thank you so much for painting with me. I can't wait to see what you guys do with this project, how you decide to make it your own. It's a lot of fun. If you need any of these supplies, you can find them at letsmakeart.com. You can find us on Instagram and tag us. We want to see what you're doing. You can do hashtag Let's Make Art or tag us at Let's Go Make Art. We have a wonderful Facebook community that is the sole purpose so you guys can share your work and learn from each other and like talk to each other and, you know, hang out. That's called Let's Make Art Watercolors. So you do have to ask to join, but it's a very supportive group, and you can see how other people are making, and you learn that way. You learn best that way. We don't have to learn in like by ourselves. Why would that's so much harder than it needs to be? No. So join that. And Keenan, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys later. Bye.